Hey, Bob Filka here from the HBA of Michigan. It's the Friday finish for the week of February 6th, and what a busy week it's been. Don Crandall's going to talk to you a little bit about the governor's proposed budget, but I also want to point to some significant issues that your state association is fighting on. The administration has submitted rules for a new Michigan Energy Code in our state. We are opposing that, particularly since the state has not done a 7-year payback analysis. State law, which your state association got enacted decades ago, requires the state to do such an analysis whenever they are proposing energy efficiency improvements. They have to have a 7-year payback analysis. And what the state is proposing, the IECC 2021 model code, they have not done that. In fact, we've shown that the cost associated with that would not provide for a 7-year payback to Michigan homeowners. More to come on that, but we want to know that we're fighting on that front, and here's Dawn.
Thank you, Bob. Governor Whitmer proposed a $79 billion budget for fiscal year 2024, which will begin on October 1st of this year. If enacted, along with various tax law changes, the proposal would represent a record-setting operating budget of state government and largely during the state's $9.2 billion surplus. Items of interest in her budget include $900 million into the state's rainy day fund for schools. This is a new fund. $800 million into fiscal year 2022 general fund revenues into the Strategic Outreach and Attraction Reserve SOAR fund, plus an additional allocation of up to $500 million from 2023 revenues in each year going forward through 2025 should the annual corporate income tax revenues exceed $1.2 billion. Additional recommendations include funds into safe and affordable housing to build hundreds of affordable housing units and fight blight, $25 million into career and technical education programs. And then there was a housing infrastructure bill that was already signed into law this year, and it was Public Act number 1. And in that bill is $150 million for housing gap financing and affordable housing, $75 million to fight blight elimination and land bank housing redevelopment, $50 million ongoing beginning fiscal year 23 for the Housing and Community Development Fund, and $50 million for the housing missing middle. And then there was $10 million in attainable housing and apprenticeships. And just keep in mind, this is the first step in the budget process. The House and Senate Appropriations Committees now begin their work and working out negotiations between both chambers. One last thing, I've talked about the great work that the Housing Michigan Coalition did last session, and there were 4 bills signed into law. And there will be a webinar held in February, and I know there's going to be a link put up in this video, but it's at 10 a.m. on the 24th of February. And I would invite you to attend that webinar so that you can learn how those tools can be used and applied to your projects moving forward.
One last thing, as you look ahead to your next week, there's a trade show, the Great Lakes Design and Construction Expo, taking place in Novi at the Showplace. It's something you might want to check out, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and don't forget, Valentine's Day is coming right around the corner.